Welcome back to The Truth with Trinity, and I am your host, Trinity. And if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, I wanted to send out a warm welcome. And without further ado, I'd like to jump right into this topic's discussion, which is what will it take for us as a people to change? Which is a very daunting task. It's like mind boggling to even think, about us as a group changing from what we've known for so many years now. Um, but there's always room for suggestion, right? So um, I had a couple of suggestions for us. Um, and it's kind of relating to, I guess, the racial classes that they have at college universities, where they have like racial classes, race relation classes. And I think Trump may have wanted to, and I think Pence, said there was no need for racial classes, but that's not my point of bringing it up. It needs to be something like that. So, you have the Nation of Islam, you have different groups that have uh, black women training, and you have black men training. But I think this just needs to get straight to the meat and potatoes. So, we can kind of separate religion uh, from, the fact that there needs to be classes that are uninterrupted and taught by successful black men and women. And we need to recondition the minds of our youth. And I believe it needs to start at a young age, 4 or 5 years old. It needs to be incorporated into the curriculum of black young youth. And, that's not to say that older, adults that are black couldn't benefit from it. As a matter of fact, they really could benefit from it. And I believe the purpose of that helping us is there could be classes that are structured to understand that a lot of the ways that our elders, or not all of our elders, but some of our elders have been teaching that that's not the way to go. It could teach black women the importance of not indulging in sex before marriage. It could teach young black women the importance of finding a proper male to marry versus having children into single motherhood, which leads into poverty. It could teach black women how to dress with certain occasions, and how to conduct herself as a lady. Um, for black men, it could teach them the importance of being a man. If they could hear this from a successful man, you know, um, and the importance that, your manhood isn't determined by how many times you've been to jail, or how many black brothers you've killed. The importance of, it's not in how many women you have, but the importance is the woman that you stuck it out with and created meaningful families, okay? And children that are growing up with fathers in the home, not a father that you know his name, but a father that's in the home, and what it takes as a man to build that foundation. And as black men and women, we need, courses on how not to go by our emotions and what feels good, but the logical standpoint of life. What it takes to succeed in this world, and how to change our mindsets so that our communities, um, it's one thing for it to be called the ghetto, but it wouldn't be a ghetto if certain activities and things wasn't taking place, like drugs, high rates of prostitution. If we wasn't looking to kill each other, damage our own property. The same places that were termed the ghetto impoverished areas, could be a nicer area to live in, because it's not about necessarily, it's about, I guess, economics, but at the same time, you don't have to have a lot of money to be cordial and civil to one another. And I believe because a lot of us have been brainwashed, so heavily bombarded and saturated um, with a false doctrine of who we are and how we should conduct ourselves, by the movies we watch, by the videos that we look at for entertainment, and, what we've been told, who black people are. I think it's just caused a problem in our lives, period, as black people. So that's one of the ways I think that we could, help each other, is if there were classes, once again, that could re-educate the minds. And, don't get me wrong, I understand that that won't solve, the issues that we're having in this country, the racial injustices that we're having, because it takes two to tangle. So, we can do our part as black people all day long. But, if people want to see us in a negative way, then that's not going to change. But I do believe that it will make it less, we will be less permeable, penetratable for certain attacks, because it's hard to attack someone when there's a stand front of unity. With us being divided amongst each other on all sorts of levels, it just makes it so easy to come in and infiltrate and do what they will, just at will, basically. That, and there was another point, but that's pretty much it. One other thing is, not every black person is going to be willing to jump on board. And that goes with people, period, Um, but if there was, some, because there are some young, bright young black men and women that want to know the way, they want to be shown the way, and there's no, positive, like, structure. And that's what we need as black people. We need structure, and we're missing structure. Um, we're missing certain methods on doing things. And like I said, retraining our brains. And who knows, maybe other people could benefit off of it too. But I really believe that in order to teach black people, it takes educated, strong black people. That's one thing that kind of bothers me. Um, when, other races of people, and namely Europeans, when they teach African American history, it's like, most of the time they're going to teach it from their perception of who black people are. And it's not, how can you learn something about yourself from someone who is not who you are? Not to say that you can't learn anything from other people, but it just seems like an oxymoron to learn about the origins of who you are from someone who is not a part of your originality. Um, pretty much. So that's pretty much it for this segment. There's a lot of things that we can change. It just starts with us, and then we just have to take it from there. Um, it's been a pleasure talking with you all. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can at thetruthwithtrinity@gmail.com. And my podcast is also on YouTube. You can check it out, The Truth with Trinity. It's been a pleasure. Peace and blessings.